Hello everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We're going to get started with some more casual games. I still don't totally feel like... I don't know, I went and looked at my ranked, and it still says yes, you are indeed in Master Tier, despite like I haven't played for 3 years. And my rating is 1448, which I think is pretty abysmal, so I should be rated against weak players if I do play in ranked. But I don't know, I'm appreciating having a smallish pool of units available and a longish time control. Epic Rusher. Is this a bot? Who knows? Oh my goodness. Tia and Vivids. Well, those are two competing strategies. There's Zamora. I think Tia should threaten too much for Zamora to be a thing. Well, we clearly want green. And I'm player 2, so it's sort of easy for me to get green. I could go drone conduit if I wanted to really like go a bit nuts. I don't know exactly what I'm threatening with this, but either Zamora or Tia, like I think I'm okay with this. If my opponent tries to go greedy with Vivid drones, I can counter with Tia, so that's fine. I think he just like can't do that. Yeah, okay, so he's trying to go super greedy. So now I can try to threaten Tia. Or I can try to get Zamora as like the alternate approach to greed. Zamora costs a little bit to build, but then it takes like 6 turns before it does anything, so it's a pretty long-term play. I don't think my opponent will be able to get Centurion up in time. I feel like a Tia rush is usually not good, but if my opponent is not building any defenses, maybe it is. Like he's signaling that he wants to... If I go Tia, he'll probably just switch to blue. Is that fine with me, or is it a problem? What if I do this? Put out the Zamora, and then more drones? He's signaling he's going to give me time, right? That's the nice thing. In fact, I could do this. And say, fine, if you're going to give me all the time in the world, I'll build a Zamora. And go greedy myself, but without getting the extra engineer. I still just barely threaten Tia, I think. So maybe this is fine. Yeah, and we'll get another engineer as well. Then we can build, like, Zamora, Vivid, Doom drone next turn. Okay, so we're gonna go Zamora after all. I didn't really expect that, but I guess that's what I'm doing. My opponent is giving me enough time. Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to think this is a bot, actually. I wasn't really paying much attention to it. But that's the turn bots usually emote, and he also is doing everything like... I don't know. Who knows? It's a mystery. Maybe it's a human. I don't think I want more Vivids. I want to get my Animus going. Maybe I will get more Vivids. I kind of want to keep them to be able to like force field or something. But it's just so efficient to build Vivids instead of real drones, you know? This threatens Tia, which I don't... It's not a real threat, but my opponent could conceivably overreact to it. Like, really, I'm just going to build Rhino Tarsier because I expect him to build a militia. Yeah. So we're going to do like this. One more Vivid. I don't know about all this. But I really would like to get a Blast Forge out, actually. Maybe... Yeah, but I can't do that if I'm building Rhino Tarsier, so... I also need actually more green, because this Zamora is going to come up eventually, and I need to make sure I can power it. So maybe... Yeah. Maybe that's more important than building a Vivid and a Doom drone, is just getting up a supply of green. I can build like a Tantalum Ray at some point and still be able to start getting my Zamora going. Maybe this is a little too early. I think it's too early to worry about Zamora. I have plenty of green for now, and if I build more drones, I can build conduits later. I don't need to build the conduits right away. Need to build them eventually. I'm floating a red, but I think it is important to get a blast forge out so I can build a wall. I could cut the conduit and build another Tarsier. I guess that's fine. But pretty soon, we're gonna need more conduits, right? I have enough conduits that I can fire Zamora at least once, and on that turn I can build some more conduits, but it's sort of nice to have built the conduits early rather than late, because then you have like spare green and you don't have to build as many conduits right away. But on the other hand, it's also nice to have some attack, right? Because that's threatening your opponent. Yeah, 1 extra Tarsier right now doesn't really do anything, but 2 kind of does, because it'll threaten 3 damage eventually. Okay, this is a bot. I'm now finally paying enough attention to what's happening on his side of the screen. Okay, so we're doing this. Still holding the Rhino back, and Zamora's coming up next turn. So... Oh, hang on. Hold this drone back? This Doom drone back? Yeah. I think we have enough conduits that I don't need one more after this. This one that I'm building now is sufficient. The Rhino feels a bit weird, though. Maybe I should just build Tarsier Doom Drone? That's probably better. Attacking with the Rhino does nothing, so I'll hold it, although I don't expect to defend with it either. So in case you guys didn't see when I was briefly mousing over Zamora, when it does come online, it deals 8 damage and gains 8 attack every turn in exchange for 8 green. So as you can tell, that's quite powerful. Let's see, 6. So we're gonna need Engineer. I'm still holding the Rhino. I guess I might as well attack with the Rhino, right? Kill an Engineer. Yeah. He could exploit me by clicking 2 Militia to make me... No, that's not much good. I don't know. If he wanted to, he could make me still lose a wall by dealing 4 damage. But he clicks the 2 Militia, lets me save an Engineer, and it gives him $2, which I think is the wrong direction for him to be going. Alright, I think I may have overdone it with the early green. You usually want to have, like, I don't know, 11 is about the most green you would want to have when Zamora's ready, and I have more than that. But on the other hand, like, I get to breach, so... And he's just building a Zamora now, which is, like, obviously bonkers. There's no way that's a good idea. Oh, hang on, we're holding this guy back. Okay. So with the Zamora up and going now, we're doing fine as long as we don't ever let the Zamora not fire, right? And I think with the Rhino coming off to defend next turn and a Doom Drone as well, we should be okay on that front. I'll have 11 green again. Yeah, and that's actually more defense than I need, so maybe I should... More green than I need. Maybe I should do something like this, build some Engineers, proactive defense. For future turns. Yeah, let's do that. This, I think, 3 Engineers is overdoing it, but I'm not sure what else I'm supposed to do with the money, so... Why not, right? I can always No, this way I might have Engineers after blocking with them or something, and I don't know. This seems okay. And what do we kill here? A Gauss Charge? Yes, of course, because this way my Doom Drone... Yeah, okay. I could kill a drone instead, but this makes it so that if he doesn't... Even if he attacks for everything, I get to keep the Rhino. Yeah, we got him now. We can just go nuts on the Tarsiers and build a couple more conduits. We have 2 green now, so we need at least 6 conduits next turn, which is what we have. So this is the bare minimum I can build in terms of green. And I'm starting to appreciate that extra green supply that I let myself build up. It gave me a lot more luxury to do whatever I need to. to do other stuff while Zamora just sort of takes care of itself. All right, we breach the Rhino. No, militias are terrible value to kill. We kill this thing. And notice that Zamora's coming up in 4 turns. I will want to keep an eye on that, just in case it somehow matters, like try to keep him from having enough green at that time. But realistically, it's never going to matter. Yes, I do want to hold back the Doom Drone. Okay. Kill him. Steel Splitters? And the Animus. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The game is over. He just hasn't conceded for some reason. More Tarsiers. Oh, we're out of Tarsiers. Alright, well... Rhino? Can't build Tia. Not enough drones. Steel Splitter... What can I even spend money on? There's just nothing. More NGs. No, more Doom Drones, of course. And then more NGs. Oh my gosh. I can build a Vivid. There you go. I don't know, that's clearly wrong. We'll build the Doom Drones and the NGs. Anyway, he's conceding this turn, so it doesn't really matter. Want to switch sides. Good emote there, Masterbot. Okay. So we learned about Oxide Mixer, which in fact is a card I don't know about. They printed that since the last time I played. Lifespan, so it costs 3 and a blue. And it builds 4 pixies eventually. That seems good. A good way, it's higher value but lower tempo than Pixie. And okay, that's cool. And Cluster Bolt. I've been actually I went and thought of playing a game with Cluster Bolt before, for a specific reason, which now that I have it, I will show you actually. So it builds 4 Gauss charges for you and 1 for your opponent. And it costs, it's I think the only unit in the game that doesn't cost any gold? Are there any others? I can't think of any others. There's some like click abilities that don't cost gold, like for example, if you have an ossified drone, you can click it for a red to build another unit, but there's a ton of stuff like that. This is the only thing I can think of that appears in the +8 that costs no gold. So it's a good way to, like, when you've gone for some crazy heavy green strat, you can still cash in and, like, it lets your opponent attack you, but you Animus Avatar, all right, but you attack them for more. Oh my god, who cares about all this stuff? So what I want to do now is we're not going to play a real game. I'm going to show you a silly little thing because where is it? Customize badges. Somewhere in here, and I don't think I'll find it in this short look here, is there's a badge you get somewhere for lose a game against Pacifist Bot, which I did, I think, long ago, back before they had badges. Never lucky? No. I don't know. Whatever. We'll get it just by getting it. So who is Pacifist Bot, you may ask? This is a silly sort of not real game here. We're not learning anything about Prismata by playing this. But versus a computer, you can play against... So there's different bot settings, right? Master Bot is sort of like the good one, and then they have some sort of simpler ones. Wacky Bot plays at random. Basic Bot does like a couple of simple things, and so on. Pacifist Bot never attacks. Yes. So this doesn't count as a real game. Understood. Pacifist Bot never attacks, and so like, how do you? The funny thing is, you have to lose to him somehow, and the only way that I know of to force Master Bot or Pacifist Bot to attack you is how do I? Oh, custom. Here we go. Is to give him a lot of cluster bolts, and in order for the cluster bolts that you build for him not to kill his units, you want to also give him some high attack, high defense stuff that he can build. Like, let's give him access to walls and what else has high health? Energy Matrix is decent. Defense Grid? Polywall? I don't know. Pretty much everything blue. Do I not have defense grid yet? I guess I don't. Ooh, ebb turbine. That'll let me kill my own drones. How useful. And is there something I can do that'll let me get a lot of green without getting a lot of health? Synthesizer sort of counts for that, I think. Tia would let me kill a bunch of my drones, but I guess we're already doing that with the ebb turbine. I don't see anything else here that would give me access to more green without health, so I guess Doom Drone is kind of cute because I can use those to generate economy that lets me build the green more effectively, but then disappears? I don't know. Okay, we'll try this. So, how do I say yes? Do I just close this and that's what it is? Yes. Play. Okay, so this is a silly game, of course. We're not really learning much from it. But I'm just going to build my whole economy out of Doom drones instead of regular drones. And when he has enough... I guess I'll just use regular drones. Whatever. I could, of course, just build conduits. And probably, in fact, I should, right? Not build any drones. Because my whole point is to get rid of them as soon as I can. I don't want more health on the field. But I guess Doom Drone is better than not building anything, right? It lets me get going quicker on the synthesizer. So, okay, let's look at this, actually. Cluster Bolt, it used to give the opponent 2 Gauss charges and give you 5. Now it's 4 and 1, so things are a little different, right? The most attack we can even give him is 10. That's harder, actually, than it looks, because you have to have at least 1 conduit, and you have to have, like, 2 engineers. That's 5. You have to get rid of your drones somehow. How much health does Ebb Turbine have? 4. So, the Ebb Turbine is 4, but to get that, you need a Blast Forge. That's 7. You need a conduit, that's 10, and your 2 Engies are still there, right? So that doesn't work. Synthesizer is 4 health, so that's even worse than the conduit. This is harder than it looks to lose to this guy. You used to be able to do it with, like, Blood Pact, because it would build some husks for you and Tarsiers for your opponent. But now it gives your opponent Grimbotches, which he can choose not to attack with, so that doesn't work. Huh. Alright, so 5 here. Alright, so maybe I don't build the Blast Forge and the Synthesizer at all. What if I had just an Animus to let me build Tia? And that ate all my drones. That's turning 7 health into 4 health. And it costs the Animus, which gives you 2 more. So it's sort of turning 7 health into 6 health. Well, okay, first thing is, I want to be player 1, not player 2. Because I'll start with 1 fewer drone that way, which is a big deal. Okay, so let's try this again. Wait, no, not custom. So I actually do want the Tia. I was thinking I don't, but... Oh, can I have Vivids? Are those in my set? That would be great, right? That would be a different way to get rid of my drones. Then I could turn my drones into, like, 2 health, and I don't need the Animus, even. Yeah, okay, that's better than Tia. And I'll keep all this stuff, even though I don't see myself using it. I just need to reduce myself to 10 health, basically. Which I think I can do with these units. I forgot to set myself to resign. I want to be player 1, please. Yes, yes, yes. Return to lobby. Okay. Me. Apologies to all you hardcore Prismata fans out there who were hoping for a real game. I just remembered an opportunity to be a bit silly, and so that's what I'm doing instead. And I'll just build the conduit here. I don't know. On the other hand, you kind of, to do this, you have to like pass for 40 turns. Maybe this makes for pretty poor YouTube content, huh? Because you have to build up all this green. And so, okay, how much health do I have here now? 5, 8. I cannot build another conduit. I kind of just have to pass forever. All right, I've changed my mind. This makes for terrible. I didn't realize it wasn't so bad when this was 5 and 2 instead of 4 and 1. Now having to pass for 40 turns. That's clearly poor YouTube content. Okay, but you guys see the idea, right? This is how you can lose to a bot that never attacks you. Great, very exciting. Well, since that went over rather quickly, let's try and sneak in another game. Hope it's not one of those 30-minute long games, but if it is, I guess it's not the end of the world, right? Oh, you know what? Actually, we could instead review the previous game and see what happened. I usually go over games when they're done, so that we can at least make some commentary about what the set is like. So, and in particular, since when I'm playing under time pressure, I don't have time to go over all the units necessarily, and I don't remember which one you guys have seen before. I know you've seen Doom Drones. I'm pretty sure you've seen Vivid Drones, but just in case, it consumes 2 drones, but gives you 3 money per turn, so in that way it's a lot like building 1 drone. But it only costs 2 instead of 3. The downside is it costs 1 more energy, so you can't like easily build 2 of them, or this and another drone. And it consumes your drones, which is like, again, fine in terms of economically, but it means you don't have the drones available to defend or force field with later. So Vivid Drones are more efficient. They help you build that high economy quickly, or you can use Vivids in an aggressive strategy to get out the Animus faster, or whatever. Zamora, I don't remember if you guys have seen, although after the last game you sort of understand the idea. I remember when Zamora used to only cost 2 blue, I think? I'm pretty sure it only costs 2. Not blue, green. And I don't remember what its money cost was. It might have been 8 green or something, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, it seems like these days player 2 has a pretty good Zamora opening of like drone conduit, Zamora drone. But okay, fine. There's these guys which we ended up not building, but they're quite strong green units. They cost 7 and 2. Yeah, you guys have seen these before, right? They cost 7 and 2 green. They only deal 1 damage, but you can click them to construct a Gauss charge so that they sort of effectively, for the first 4 turns that you have them, well, not the first 4. On turn 1, they deal 1 damage. On turns 2, 3, 4, and 5, they sort of deal 2 damage because you're clicking them to build Gauss charges, and then they go back to 1 damage. So they're a very efficient way to threaten extra damage quickly. Over the very, 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 very long term, they're less efficient than Gauss cannons, but the long term isn't that important because while you're building, while they're still pressuring, your opponent is having to sacrifice his own development of more attackers or more economy or whatever in order to deal with the threat. And so while this deals like less damage per dollar than a Gauss cannon does over the very long term, it still is more effective because there's sort of this interest effect where money or damage this turn is worth a lot more than damage next turn, and it sort of snowballs. So anyway, that's why threatening stuff early is fast. You've seen Militia about 100 times probably. Costs the same as a Steel Splitter, but you can click it to gain money instead of attacking. Tia, I don't think has occurred in any of our games, but I think she's been in the set before. Basically, she costs 7 and 3 green and a red and 7 drones. So I remember when Tia cost 4 gold instead of 7 and had the same effect. It was pretty nuts. And like, she still wasn't that great all the time. But the idea is you sacrifice your drones to get basically a humongous burst of damage. She deals 7 damage 3 times. And then she gets tired, and so you sort of want to use Tia to seal the game. When it's like, I'm almost there, but my opponent's defending. If I could just push a little bit harder, we'd get him to break. And then there's Centurion, which is a very large defender who's prompt and attacks. Like, he's nuts, but very expensive to get out. Centurion is a good justification for a game going... I should have gotten a Centurion at some point in that game, actually. But I was so busy defending the Zamora that I didn't have time to build up the Centurion. Okay, fair enough. Maybe my opponent should have gotten one. Anyway, so this is a good justification to go high econ. And so is Zamora and Vivid, I think. Tia, I thought, is sort of a deterrent to this because you'll be too low on defenses to survive the Tia if you try to go high econ. But maybe you can react in time if your opponent is threatening Tia, maybe you can abort the high econ and switch to defense. But when I saw my opponent get the third engineer, I was like, okay, I didn't know at first what I was building this conduit for. And you can see I spent a ton of time on this turn. I used up like 90 seconds deciding to build a third conduit. Because there's other ways you could punish this. You could try to go Tantalum Ray and threaten more breach before they're really ready with walls. Because they're building a bunch of drones instead. You could try to go for Tia. You could try to go for Zamora. Tia and Zamora, like, they both have 3 green in their costs, but you have to build up to them differently. Because you don't want to build the second conduit for Tia, because you'll have 3 green before you're ready to spend it. If you were going to do that, let's say I wanted to threaten Tia. How does this work out, actually? This should be fun. So let's say we do this. I could build the Animus now. Yeah, this will be an interesting line, I think. This is a plausible way you could choose to threaten Tia, I think. If you were doing that, I think you wouldn't want the Vivid, because it takes you down to less than 7 drones, and you'd have to build another. So maybe you would just build a Doom drone here. Okay. Fine. So what does your opponent do? He builds 3 drones, clearly. That's the only play opponent... Well, if the opponent makes this play, I think they're going to lose. Because we're going to go Tarsier. And then next turn, we'll be able to Tia. Right? And what are they doing? Blast Forge now? Like, obviously, they need to have a wall ready. So we build the Tia. And let's say 1 more drone. Fine. And they can build a wall, but we're threatening 9, so the wall is the only defense they can build. So to avoid getting breached, they have to hold back like 4 of these drones they've been building. So clearly, the choice to build 3 drones last turn was a mistake for them, right? If we threaten the Tia, they can't afford this. They have to build the Blast Forge and some other stuff. What other stuff? A conduit to let them start force fielding? Maybe, but then their economy advantage is not so great, right? Engineers to defend, well, Doom drones to defend with, I guess. Okay, does that work? Not really. They still have to hold back 2 Doom drones. But, okay, maybe they can keep defending this way? Build 3 more Doom drones and an engineer? They're not really making any progress, but they're not getting instantly murdered. I'll just build another drone. And again, we have to wall, force field, hold back these 2. Doom drone, NG. I can build a Tarsier now, threaten some more attack. Or I can save the money for a turn and get a Tantalum Ray. Tarsier is probably better. Or I could get a drone. I think the problem is my Tia's about to run out, and I'm only going to have 2 attack. I really need to be threatening more than that. So, yeah, maybe this does just work. Maybe just high econ into, oh, never mind, I'll get walls. Maybe that's good enough. But it certainly is hurting his economy, and he doesn't have any attackers. So if we can build any, maybe I'll be okay in this line? Wait, did he hold back too many? I made him hold back too many Doom drones, I guess. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but now he has wall force field and like now's his chance to build some attack, right? And what have I really accomplished? With my Tia? Nothing, right? He holds back one Doom drone, starts building Tarsiers, and I can't defend against them. So anyway, all this to say, you can threaten a Tia by building this Animus, but I don't think it actually works, right? Just rushing Tia usually doesn't work. Even when you can like build 2 Tarsiers to sync up with her, an opponent with blue and green can hold it off. But it's something to keep in mind. You like I was saying, if you do want to threaten Tia, you're not building the second conduit right away. Let's leave. Does this go back to the old replay? No, it doesn't. Anyway, so you can. That's why I spent so long about whether to build the conduit, is because if I'm going Tia, I'm not building a conduit here. If I'm going Zamora, I am building a conduit. If I'm like trying to head for Tantalum Rays, I should be maybe building one. Like that's another thing actually, is I could, instead of building the second conduit, I could just build the Tantalum Ray right away. My opponent doesn't even have a Blast Forge yet, so he won't be able to use any defense against it except his engineers. But he'll build a Blast Forge next turn, probably. And then he'll build a wall, so like the Tantalum Ray won't get much value. Clicking it would be a waste, because it'll be one attack from the Tantalum Ray and one attack from the Gauss Charge hitting a wall. So we don't want to do that. But anyway, spent a lot of time and decided that, like, okay, the way to punish a high econ is to go Zamora, saying, look, you can go high econ, but actually Zamora is even higher econ, even without the third NG. And then I built the third NG anyway, so that I could start getting Doom drones ready while building Vivid Drone. And he's finally building a Blast Forge, you know. Nobody's built any attackers yet. Here it is, turn 5, the first attacker comes in. And I don't understand, actually, at all. What is the deal with these 3 engineers? This is bizarre, now that I look at it. Like, if I were in his position, what would I do here? I'd cut all 3 of these and build an Animus. Like, that's gotta be better, right? I'm not sure what the conduit is for exactly, but sure, conduit's always fine. Militia, of course, was the right thing to do when I had no defense. Forces me to build a Rhino, which he can then click to gain some money. So, sure, obviously the right play. Conduit seems fine. Don't understand the 3 engineers at all. He doesn't use them for anything for a very long time. They're, like, he could have built 2 drones instead. That would have been an equally good play. He sort of is committed to a high economy play. So, build more drones, right? The Gauss Cannon, kind of nice. It's forcing me to defend with an engineer, or lose an engineer, I should say. But, you know, my Doom drone is coming off duty. I can defend, and sort of at this point, I feel like it's pretty much over for him. He's built this third conduit for no obvious reason. It's way too late for Zamora. I think he needs to respond to my Zamora attempt by doing something to show that the high econ early can pay off in time to put pressure on me before Zamora is ready. So he needs to, like, I don't know though. He's already, let's see. He built, okay, turn 2, he did that. He's already built 3 drones, which is fine. The next turn, yeah, 3 drones and a Blast Forge, I guess? I don't know. It's hard to pressure Zamora when you're building all these drones, is the thing. I think maybe he's just supposed to mirror Zamora and then show that Zamora with high econ is better than Zamora without high econ. I don't know. All the stuff that happened here, like, there wasn't much thinking to do. Like, I was just so far ahead, I could do almost anything as long as I didn't allow a breach for no reason. Okay, great. So, sorry about that distraction with passive spot. I hope you guys found it interesting to sort of puzzle through how you could make a thing happen. And I hope that the game against Epic Rusher here was entertaining enough to justify a bit of... And also instructive, right? Watching the replay. I hope you guys learned some things there as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.